This is Professor MoneyPigTrading, former PhD drug researcher, now data scientist and trader. Today's April 18, 2021. We're going to talk about QuantumScape, QS. Basically, there's a lot of things going on. The short seller actually announced a report saying that this QS potentially is a scam and actually pulled back down QS stock price from $43 all the way to $34, almost 20% drop. Now QS is pushing back up to around 35.5. Basically, what we think is a good sign, but a lot of technical challenges ahead. And also, we should watch a startup called Northvolt. So really quick disclaimer, we're not registered financial advisor. This is just for education purposes. Please invest at your own risks. So if you are now aware of QS, we actually have a former video about QS. Basically, it's a revolutionary solid-state battery company. Morgan Stanley upgraded to $70 price target. It's backed by Bill Gates, and there's no battery production until 2023. Everything's still in the lab prototyping. And the earnings actually report highlight that they are building a battery testing factory in California, and that actually boosts the stock price right after the earnings. So last time we made the video back to February, we actually cash out the swing trading about, I think, 100 or 200%. With our call options. Now QS is pulled back sideways consolidation until this short seller Scorpion Capital announced the short sale reports and pull back down QS from $43 all the way to almost $34, pushing back out to 35.5. And if this 35.5 level doesn't hold on the technical chart, the next significant support is at $28. So if you're holding QS stock, make sure you're beware of that there's a really big gap down below. That can potentially make this stock easily go down another 20%. So this is from the QS website. What do they do? So basically, they're claiming themselves as a revolutionary solid-state battery. On the y-axis, energy density, and as you can see, they're claiming the solid-state lithium metal battery is actually way better than the lithium ion battery with almost double of the energy density. Theoretically, that's totally right, but what's going on? So the Scorpion Capital, the short seller, actually announced this report. I provide the link here, and we'll provide it down below as well. Basically said it's a pump and dump SPAC scam by Silicon Valley celebrities that makes Theranos look like an amateur. So Theranos is a diagnostic company. The CEO actually faked a lot of data in the company, and the CEO actually ended up being in trial. So they actually compare this QuantumScape to Theranos. That's a really big deal. So what's going on in that report? So basically, there are two claims in the report. The first is there's no science report from QS that never include this Columbus efficiency, which is really important when you report any battery efficiency. I also consult our expert friend, and that expert indeed mentioned that without this Columbus efficiency, it does look a little suspicious that whether they can, this prototype in the lab is a good science, but whether they can be really, being applied into the real world outside the lab, that's really questionable. And this expert definitely mentioned this Columbus efficiency will provide a lot of scientific insights. And most of the reports, over 100 pages, are actually cited numerous of former QS and Volkswagen employees and their statements. Basically, all they said is a lot of numbers are being exaggerated, might not be reproducible outside the lab. Volkswagen former employee actually said a lot of these numbers, they never get the details, they cannot reproduce the results, feel like this is a trade secret, they never know what's going on the QS side. Of course, after this results report, the stock price dropped back about 20%, and QS actually tweeted back on the same day, saying that this is our full statement. Basically, though those are former QS and Volkswagen employees, they cannot represent the current state of the company, and also they still report in the tweet. They mentioned about some scientific figures, trying to convince people that their science are solid. So what's going on? Fortunately, Professor has an expert in the field. That this expert has been working on solid-state batteries for years, and that expert is actually has been working on numerous R&D company and startups around solid-state company batteries. So I think what he said is really reasonable. He said basically in general, not only on QS, the solid-state battery have several problems. First is it charge way slower compared to liquid lithium battery. Second of all, the solid state battery are really temperature sensitive, because it's solid state, when the temperature change, its density and its volume can change drastically compared to liquid. So that actually can affect a lot of charging speed and the electricity, the charging capacity. And the third question this expert mentioned, which is very interesting as well, is if the solid state battery is that good, why Elon Musk and other EV makers are still pursuing liquid lithium batteries with full speed, right? That's a really good question, and I also think that's a really good reason that there's those EV companies still backing those liquid lithium battery and just pretty much watching the solid state battery. On the other side, the expert did mention about QS that has really good science, but can only, so far based on the numbers provided, can only be applied to small cells like a watch size cells so far. So, and as we know, the EV cars, their battery cells are relatively big. So QS still need to prove that their good science can be applied to EV batteries. If not, this expert thinks even though it doesn't work on EVs, probably still good for Internet of Things like small devices. The solid state battery can actually provide longer battery cells and charging capacity, and potentially make those IoT small devices last forever. That's basically his conclusion, which I think makes a lot of sense. However, I think a lot of QS hype currently are pricing that their battery can be proven for EV application. One thing we have to think about is right now I know QS is under a lot of R&D. They are hiring a lot of R&D, as we can see from their website. But what about 2 to 3 years later, they ended up saying that, okay, I know we mentioned in 2023 we're going to produce our battery for EV usages in production, but in 2023 ended up they're saying, unfortunately, our battery cannot be applied to EV. What will happen to the stock price? So if you're a QS stockholder, I think that's a risk we probably need to think about and potentially buy some put option to hedge that risk. But I'm not saying QS is a scam or anything. I still think they have really good science. I'm hoping they will have a breakthrough and apply to EV, and hopefully all this EV with this amazing solid state battery will have a really good mileage down the road. And this expert also mentioned a really good point is right now a lot of focus from those EV manufacturers are on the lithium batteries, and there's a trend on the lithium battery startups is that they start to add metals like silicon or lithium metals into the liquid lithium batteries cathode, which can reduce the battery weight and increase the battery density. So there are about the numerous startups, about 10 of them are doing the same thing. One of them is based in the Bay Area, is called Cuberg. They have some breakthrough, and recently this year being acquired by a late-stage startup, battery startup called Northvolt. And this Northvolt is pretty ready for IPO, so definitely keep an eye on this name. And once this IPOs probably will be very interesting if you still want to get exposure to the EV and the battery space. Last and the most, we have a really good long-term investment program. 2020 will have average return per trade 18% with a winning rate almost 90%. For swing trading program, which is option focused, but members can also use that to trade stocks, we have really good earned winning rate even in a really choppy March, almost 70%, and the return per trade is 33.7%. If you're interested in our Discord community, make sure to check out www.moneypigtrading.com for more details. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram are all MoneyPigTrading, and we have a new Facebook group, MoneyPig Space Trading. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And make sure you like the video and follow us on YouTube as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.